Hey, we should be reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Why?
Well, I'm here to explain exactly why you should read To Kill a Mockingbird. First, let's start with 3 graphics that have a connection to the text. Behind me is the tree that Boo Radley leaves the gifts in. It represents the connection between Boo Radley and the children.
Confident that you gentlemen will review without passion the evidence that you have heard, come to a decision, and restore this man to his family. In the name of God, do your duty. In the name of God, believe Tom Robinson.
Atticus's speech represents how strongly that he fights to stop racism in America. And that's exactly what we learned from the speech that we just listened to.
What it was?
No, look. We come in this other way. You ain't talking about that Atticus.
I thought about it.
I can't see Atticus.
Well, that changes things.
Atticus! Hey, Atticus.
Jim, go home. Take Scott and Bill home with you. Son, I said go home.
No, sir.
Well, I said go home.
No, sir, touch him. Let him go. Let him go.
I don't do sound.
Ain't nobody gonna Jim that away.
Are you going to know, Mr. Finch? Jim, I want you to please leave.
No, sir.
Jim?
I tell you, I ain't going. Hey, Mr. Cunningham. I said, hey, Mr. Cunningham. How's your talent getting along? Don't you remember me, Mr. Cunningham? I'm Tina Louise Finch. You brought us some hickory nuts one early morning, remember? We had a talk. I would get my daddy to come out and thank you. I go to school with your boy. I go to school with Walter. He's a nice. Tell him hey for me, won't you? You know something, Mr. Cunningham? Entanglements are bad. Entanglements. Atticus, I was just saying to Mr. Cunningham that entanglements were bad, but not to worry. Takes a long time sometimes. What's the matter? I sure meant no harm, Mr. Cunningham.
No harm taking young lady. I'll tell Walter you said hey. Let's go out of here. Let's go, boys.
The clip that we just saw is of Scout, Jim, and Dill all together when they were children. This shows their friendship and the bond that they have to their community during their childhood. These 3 representations would be beneficial for a 9th grader to read this story because the themes encourage critical thinking and valuable lessons for a young person. Now, I'll have an SAR to represent the text. To summarize my SAR, in the novel To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee uses the theme that without empathy, injustice will occur. During Atticus's closing arguments in Tom Robinson's speech, he asked the jury to not judge Tom based off racial stereotypes, and to treat him just like a normal human being and not as an immoral one. Atticus asked the jury to reject judging Tom based off of racial stereotypes, but they end up not empathizing Tom and not treating him like a normal human being and putting racial stereotypes. So without the empathy, Tom gets convicted, showing the injustice without empathy. And I'll have my full SIR linked somewhere here, and I'll also link it in the comments of this assignment. The author also describes 2 characters using direct and indirect characterization in the story. Example 1 is when the author uses direct characterization when describing Uncle Jack. Quote, Uncle Jack was a head shorter than Atticus, the baby of the family. He was younger than Aunt Alexandra. He and Auntie looked alike. But Uncle Jack made better use of his face, where we were never wary of his sharp chin. Lee 89. Uncle Jack is a strict kind of man that is short and bony. Harper Lee uses direct characterization because she physically describes Jack with specific traits. Example 2. Quote, I swear, Scout, sometimes we act so much like a girl it's mortifying. Lee 42. End quote. The author uses indirect characterization as seen in the quote. Jim calls Scout a girl, and it refers to her as someone who is scared and is worried for no reason, using indirect characterization. Mortifying? The two connections that To Kill a Mockingbird also has that correspond with the outside world include Connection 1, racial injustice in modern society. The themes of racial injustice and empathy depicted in To Kill a Mockingbird are represented in today's society. For instance, the wrongful conviction of Tim Robinson is like the cases of racial profiling and police brutality as seen in news stories about the Black Lives Matter movement. Just as Atticus has challenged the jury to confront the racial stereotypes, today society calls for people to recognize racism in the world. Connection 2. To Kill a Mockingbird can also be connected to other literature, to other books, like The Hate You Give, for example. This explores the impact of racism and police violence on a young girl's life. Both novels highlight the importance of empathy in navigating social injustices. Overall, this text is appropriate for ninth grade to be reading because of its advanced language, showing the racial inequalities in America. It engages the reader by thoroughly developing the characters. It's won the Pulitzer Prize, and its in-depth plot in connection to American life.